Union government-owned Jawaharlal Nehru Port is India's second busiest container port. In fact, it is from here that India's port privatization program actually started. In the late 1990s, a container terminal was awarded to a private entity for operations on a 30-year concession period. Jawaharlal Nehru Port is now a fully landlord port, which means that, the entire cargo handling operations are outsourced to private specialists in the field. Upcoming is an in-person interview with Mr. Unmesh Wagh, the chairman of JNPA Port Authority. Stay tuned. Mr. Umesh Wagh, thank you so much for spending time with us, coming and talking to us, and allowing us the opportunity to see firsthand the operations of JN Port. It's here that the journey actually started of India's port privatization program. Nhava Sheva International Container Terminal is the first private container terminal in any port in India. And over the years, JN Port has, established itself as India's biggest container port. What has been the experience so far for the Port Authority in adopting the PPP model for, running the ports?
As you rightly mentioned, this particular port is the first PPP in port sector, and for that matter, the first in infrastructure sector also. We have completed 27 years, and within 3 years, or rather within 2 years, now this concession will be over. So this particular concession shows that we settled as an Indian in public-private partnership. That is one thing. Second, throughout these last 27, 28 years, there is hardly any issue with this PPP. There are few, definitely, because it's a first, so there are a lot of changes in PPP legal framework. So there are certain hiccups also there, but mostly because of this PPP, we got such an experience that now all future PPP of JNPA, they are more evolved than compared to this PPP. And now we have more than 7 PPP in JNPA, 5 in terminals, 1 with hospital, and 1 which is coming, and we are issuing that LOI soon, that is an agro processing unit. So not only the port sector but allied sector also in JNPA, all the PPP now almost settled, and they are now guiding other ports so that they should base their PPP on JNPA's model. And also, when the port sector, the Ministry of Port, Shipping and Waterways, when they prepared the model concession agreement, this PPP will be the and was the starting point for any future PPP agreement or model concession agreement, and it will be a starting point. And after that, any future development in this particular model concession agreement, they are based on this PPP. So that is the most significant PPP of port sector of India.
So you are now a landlord port, right? As you said, all the terminals are run by private entities. How has it really helped the Port Authority achieve its goal? And
I can give you one important example of the last terminal which we handed over on PPP basis. That is NSFT, which is now JNPA free terminal,
right.
which is by CMA, CGM and JN Bakshi consortium. 3 years back, the process started, and 2 years back, we handed it over. This is the second year. We were registering 200 crore loss, and this year we will get 300 crore in royalty, and that concession also getting or making some profit. So they are profitable. We covered 200 and making 300, so we are 500 crore plus. That, what is that means? That means there are inherent inefficiencies which we are not able to breach. I don't go into the reason, what are the reason behind this. But this is a fact that we are making losses,
Right.
and now we are making profit. So they bring a lot of expertise, not only the investment. That is definitely one important criteria. But investment was not the criteria when we went for the PPP, this latest terminal, because JNPA has money, but the expertise, the new technology, the new processes, and the experience they get with this PPP, that helps port not only becoming more efficient, more profitable, but also more productive. And that not only help us, but that also help the trade, because in the end you pass on most of the benefit to the trade.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
that way our experience in PPP is a very positive, and I personally think that this should be the way ahead for Indian port sector. That port should be landlord model. Government do the other things, that talking to the various agency, rail, road, government, revenue, as a concessioning authority, and all the basic job at the terminal or at yard should be done by the private sector.
So, well noted, sir. That's a very important element of the whole exercise. Now, you as a port authority has also been playing a very, very supportive role in ensuring that the trade, patronizes Jawaharlal Nehru Port. So, what are some of the things that you have done? Because, you are now, we are now living in a very competitive environment. For instance, we have Mundra Port and, also catering to the same, hinterland and all that. So, I remember you telling me that, even though Mundra is now connected by double stack containers and you're not, but still trade is, coming to your port. How is it that, what all have you done in terms of the centralized parking plaza, and also that is for exports? Now you are talking about something for the imports also. So you told me some time back that, how it has reduced the rates, and, why still northern interland cargo is coming to JN Port. How is it that, what have you done in that direction?
So I will answer this question in two parts. The first part, definitely Mundra and JNPA, they are not competing each other.
Yeah.
They are complementing each other.
Right.
That is the first thing. Our competition, instead of saying competition, our common area is only northern hinterland,
Right.
which is Delhi NCR. The first and most important thing is that Mundra has distance-wise advantage, and another advantage because DFC reached them
Yeah.
much ahead of us. We are still waiting, and we have to wait till next year. So the haulage cost of northern cargo is almost 30% less in Mundra. Then what is left to us? We cannot sit and wait for that. So we decided to cut down other costs in JNPA. And when we decided to cut down, we also thought that we will pass all the cost reduction to the trade. So for the export cargo, what used to be the factory stuff container pay in JNPA, approximately 10,000 plus for per TU, we reduced it to 150 rupees in centralized parking plaza. And we passed on all that benefit to the trade. We could have charged 5,000 rupees per container. Still, the trade would have been happy because that is a 50%. But we passed on 99% to the trade, so that we want to be competitive and our export cargo should be competitive. So that is for DPE. Now DPD hinterland is there. The custom did their job. They are saying 80% cargo directly go to the hinterland. They don't have to wait for the custom, because custom clearance will be done before cargo reaches the port. Then because the importer is not in a position to take that cargo because they have logistic issues, so they are going to the CFS. So that DPD CFS is there, which is adding to the cost. So now we decided that we will create a DPD warehousing in JNPA, so that they can keep their cargo for 3-4 days almost free of cost. We will charge a little for that, and there also we will only charge for the services required to be given there, that cost only we will recover with small extra, so that it should be sustainable in future. That is one thing. So that will reduce the cost of import further. And another one thing which is a very important thing which we are doing now, that we are creating a very big empty container yard in JNPA, so that the turnaround of the containers and the time taken for the turnaround, we will reduce it to 20% in near future. So that cost is also cut down. So we will make it so efficient that it will be the most efficient and least expensive port in not only in India but in the world. So that is our ambition. Now we are going to be completely exhausting our capacity by 2029. So we are going for WAD 1, and WAD 1 will also become a role model, because they will just copy paste what is happening here. So it will be you can say that this is a laboratory experience for the WAD 1. So this is a efficient and least cost port. WAD 1 will be further reduce the cost, because it is more closer to the northern hinterland. But one thing I would like to place on record, that Mundra and JNPA, they are not competitor. They complement each other, because in the end, what is important to all of us, including Mundra, that our trade should be competitive in the world market. Even if we earn less, we should do more volume, so that our profit will remain same, and in the end, Indian trade will benefit. And I am quite sure that once we cut down the cost, other ports will also follow that, and that is our aim. And we should not add to the logistic cost of doing business, rather we should reduce it further.
So JNP Port is also a young port. In 1989 it started. It's relatively younger. I mean, now we are living in an era of, green, sustainable initiatives and things like that. What are some of the sustainable initiatives that the JNP Port is taking, in this direction?
I mean, I will request Manoj, after this interview, you just take a round and take some photographs, that we have rejuvenated 5 lakes, which were dead. Now they are green and clean, full of water. That is one thing. Second, we have 34 to 35% of our land under green cover, which we will enhance to 40% and further 50%. So, which is a great thing. Third thing, 60% of total electricity we consume is a green. We take it from open access, including my terminals. And all of us are committed that within 1 year, we will be 100% through green energy. That is another thing. Then, now you can see these ships, they are burning fuel. They are burning fuel. So, they are creating some pollution in this environment. Now we are going for the shore power. So when they come here, they shut down their engine and use shore power. We have already signed MOU with the GTI terminal, and we are floating the tender for that. It is total 500 crore exercise, which is not very cost effective, but we are going for that. And World Bank is helping us by giving long-term loan.
So what is this 500 crore project?
This 500 crore project is giving shore power. That the electricity to the ships, so that they should switch off their engine when they are here. Because my turnaround time is 22 hours. We are further going to reduce. But still, 10 ships stay here continuously, 24/7. So why they should use the fossil fuel to run their engine, they run their operation, they should take clean energy. For that, some infrastructure is required.
So that project will cater to the other terminals as
well? Yes. Initially, we will go with GTI, and then we will cover all other terminals.
So that will cover, or the independent?
No, independently. So the total investment will be approximately 500
crores.
That is another thing. So that is shore power. Then the green electricity is the second. And then whatever waste we generate, we process it. Whatever water we use, we recycle it and use it for our horticulture purpose. So all these activity, and another one important activity is that you can see these trucks which are used, tractor trailers, to load and unload the containers. So these tractor trailers are now diesel trailers.
Correct.
On 15th August, we launched 2 e-tractor trailers.
Okay.
We have started battery swapping mechanism so that they should not wait for charging and they should operate 24/7.
Right.
So in next year, this time, you will not see any diesel truck here.
Okay.
We are having this ambitious target to convert all these 400 trucks to electrical trucks.
Right.
We have started battery swapping facility here.
Mm-hmm.
And one more important thing, that we will have lady drivers also for these tractor trailers, because they are very easy to maneuver if they are electrical. So that also, with sustainability, the gender equality also we are going to achieve, because these tractor trailers which are being now used, they are not very easy to maneuver.
Right.
But the electrical are very easy. So we started with 2 and we will go to 400.
Okay.
So as far as JNPA is concerned, our electricity is green. Our ships are stopping their engine when they are here.
Yeah.
We are going for electrical trucks. Their charging electricity will be green. So we are net zero in JNPA in next 2 to 3 years.
Right.
And whatever plantation and green cover we are adding, that will carbon negative. So we have ambitious plan. We are clear-cut future plan, and we are implementing them, all measures of that plan one by one. And I'm quite sure by the end of 25, you will have net carbon negative in JNP.
Right. So, sir, what is the current, in terms of productivity parameters? What is the current position now in terms of turnaround time and the pre-birthing detention and all of that?
See, as far as pre-birthing detention is concerned, JNPA give a window and then vessel come. So if they come early, that is not our fault. They should not come. They should steam slow so that their fuel is saved. Once they reach, we have tolerance of only 15 minutes. We should not allow them to wait more than 15 minutes, and we are achieving that. So there is a no pre-berth detention.
Right.
I'm talking about container.
Right.
At the berth, we are very efficient because our crane efficiency is a world class, because all the private sector, they are doing their job. So berth productivity is a world class. So our turnaround time is one of the lowest in the world. So we are very productive, we are very efficient. That is one thing. And we are also very cheap on our marine services or our other services. So productivity and efficiency, we are one of the best in the world. And then comes the legal factor. How quickly the goods are exported so that loaded on the ship, or how quickly they go when imported out of custom bound area.
Right.
That is the dwell time.
Right.
For import, it is 19 hours.
Okay.
For export, also it is 19 hours. If you reduce the waiting time once they come into the yard, because the ships are not daily.
Right.
They are weekly or twice weekly.
Right.
So they have to wait for that. So that is not in our hand. Neither it is not because of the infra or not because of the customs formality. It is because of the ship schedule. So in both the parameter, we are very efficient. Recently, this dwell time has been increased a little. But sometimes if something good happens, that also creates issue. Now the growth rate, which used to be normal 6 to 7%, this year it is almost in last 3 months, it is around 15 to 16%. So because of that, there is a sudden enhancement of cargo. So my stakeholders, the transporters, the CFS, they are not able to put in that much of extra resources. Right. So the waiting time a little more for the clearance of the cargo. Right. But that's okay. Yeah. Initially they thought it is this spike is only for this month. But now when they saw that this is a trend, now they started putting in more resource. So now we will come back to our earlier efficient parameters. within a month.
Right. Now, sir, you are very efficient on the sea side, that is on the water side, and always the problem is on the land side. I mean, is that an issue that you are facing still, and how are you going to improve that? So that the efficiency that you see on the marine side is matched up on the efficiency on the land side.
See, the land side efficiency, I have two important aspects. As far as from the quay to yard, we are efficient.
Right.
From yard to CFS, absolutely no problem. When we cross the roads which JNPA built, then the traffic speed reduces drastically for some time in some areas. That is only because the northern bound cargo has to pass through the Thane, and it is a more populous area, and also we have to wait for our time slot because 24/7 the traffic is not allowed through Thane.
Right.
And most of our cargo goes to Bhiwandi for tuffing, destuffing.
Right.
So that is a bottleneck now. But this bottleneck will be over within a year or two because the new roads will be there, and also DFC will be there, so some modal shift will also happen. So as far as JNP and JNPA boundary and the roads we are built to connect the national highway and state highway, we are very efficient. After that, there are certain issues because we become a city port now. So these issues will remain for few years. But once those all infrastructure projects are completed, the DFC is in place, that will also be taken care of. But as far as the trade is concerned, they didn't have any problem because they also didn't want that fast cargo from port to their factory because they are not ready for that.
Right.
So we are ready, but they are not ready. That's why the DPD CFS is happening.
Right.
They should take this cargo and take it to the hinterland immediately.
Right.
So that is not happening. So there we have to talk to trade also, and we have to come up with innovative ideas.
Right.
And so that this cargo directly move to the hinterland and it should not wait anywhere around this particular vicinity.
So it's a very phenomenal achievement that JN Port has achieved, despite the fact that it's a state-owned port and all that. So based on your experiences, how has been your your interactions and your dealings with the private operators, over the course of all these years? I mean, what kind of a approach, and how do you collaborate, and what has been the support mechanism and all that between both of you?
Manoj, I mean, if you ask me what is the crux, I mean, what is the difference? What makes the difference? Is definitely the attitude. If the public sector, the landlord, the authority, if it consider them as our partner, then 99% of the problems are taken care of.
Right.
If you don't consider them as a partner, intrusion or something, and if you don't collaborate, then most of the issue created, and we are having problems. When you consider them as a partner and try to accommodate their demands as if they are their own, your own issues, then 99% of the problems can be taken care of. And that is what exactly happened in last 5 years. We considered them as our partner. We did more than 5 conciliation. There are small issues, and we are fighting each other in court. We said, no, this should not happen. And the ministry also taken a very wise and initiative step by having this conciliation authority committee.
Cancellation and settlement
committee headed by the ex-secretary, Mr.
Gopal
Krishnan.
Yeah.
And he knew this sector very well. He knew this concession agreement, and we are very positive. So we both and the PPP operators, we came together. We decided that this is the issue. Let's get to the third party and try to accommodate each other. That solved whatever little hiccups we used to have. And now it is absolutely smooth. I mean, my concessionaires are very happy to do business here. That's why when I went for this NSFT tender, 12 people came. And we got a very good response and very good court also. Royalty court also.
Right.
And they are also making money.
Right.
Government is also making money.
Right.
And the trade is also happy. So the crux of PPP is that it is a public-private partnership, not public versus private.
Correct.
If we understand this, rest is very easy. Whatever great concession agreement you make, unless and until the spirit behind it is not inculcated by both the parties, whether it is a concessioner authority or concessioner, this cannot be a successful model. But JNPA showed the way that if we both are accommodative and with that spirit you move ahead, you can complete that very happily. And I can tell you, DP World is completing this. And let me tell you, they also quoted for that terminal,
Right.
which I told, and they are very happy if we give them the further extension.
Correct.
But that is not the case, because we have that old concession agreement did not have this provision.
Yeah, right.
But you ask them, they will be more than happy to continue.
Right. So one final question. So where do you see JN Port going from here?
JNPA next year will be having capacity of 10 million TUs. So
Is this the first time
first in India, and JNPA will achieve that target within 3 years. So that is also, it will be the first in India. So a government port taking over private port in efficiency, in capacity, and in all other efficiency parameter is a not only game changer, it also a big statement that we cannot say that it is a public sector, so we have some inherent constraint. Rather, public sector also has inherent advantages. So if we use those advantages and reduce those disadvantages by way of landlord kind of model, the best of the both world, that can be beneficial to the trade also and to economy also.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Manoj. Thank you very much.
Thank you.